They stood at the edge of the assembly, 5 sisters who carried no weapons, no armies, no wealth, just courage. Their father, Zelophehad, had died in the wilderness with no sons to carry his name or claim his land. By the customs of their time, that meant everything he owned, his legacy, his honor, his place in the tribe, would vanish into nothing, absorbed by others while his daughters were left with empty hands. But these women were not content to fade into silence. Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah stepped forward, their voices cutting to the heavy air of judgment and tradition. It was not just bold, it was dangerous. No one had ever seen women stand before Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the leaders of Israel to demand what only men had been entitled to. Eyes turned, whispers spread. Some scoffed, others sneered, and yet the sisters refused to bow their heads. Mahlah, the eldest, spoke with a calm that carried the weight of generations. Why should our father's name disappear simply because he had no son? Give us an inheritance among our father's relatives. The words hung in the air like a blade. The assembly froze, caught between shock and curiosity. It wasn't just about land. It was about breaking a wall that had stood for centuries. If the leaders dismissed them, their voices would be lost. But if they were heard, if they were granted justice, history itself would bend. Moses himself, unsure, did not act on impulse. He carried their plea directly before the Lord. And then came the moment no one expected. The answer thundered against the silence of tradition. The daughters of Zelophehad are right. You must give them property among their father's relatives and turn their father's inheritance over to them. In that instant, the law shifted. A precedent was born, not just for them, but for every daughter who would come after. Women, often silenced and overlooked, were given the right to inherit, recognized and upheld by divine command. Imagine the gasps that rippled through the crowd. Imagine the mixture of disbelief and awe as the words settled into hearts of men and women alike. What had been impossible was now law. The sisters did not just secure their father's name. They secured a voice for generations yet unborn. The suspense of their stand carries a piercing lesson. Courage shakes the foundations of silence, and justice comes when truth refuses to bow. The daughters of Zelophehad remind us that change often begins with those who dare to ask, "Why not us?" They could have stayed quiet, swallowed by fear. Instead, they became a living testimony that God sees beyond gender, status, and tradition. He sees justice, and he honors boldness. Their story is more than ancient history. It is a warning to every society that still denies fairness, a spark for anyone told they cannot claim what is rightfully theirs. The truth? Silence never changes a world, but one voice, trembling yet unyielding, can, and 5 sisters proved it.